Hello, I'm Becky Saif. Thanks for checking out my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to be doing some synthesis using Pigments 3. I'm going to be synthesizing this. I've already actually done it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to reverse engineer it so that you guys can do this at home and learn a little bit more about Pigments 3, which is a super powerful VST. It is incredible what this thing can do, and I am more than likely going to be making some more videos on this because the different engines and the granular and all of this it's insane, and it's a little bit difficult to get your head around as well. So I'm going to be walking you through each different step and explaining what it is and what it does, and yeah, you're going to get your head around it whilst at the same time making this dreamy lo-fi piano sound. But before we get into the video, I just want to let you know that I do have a huge Black Friday sale. It's the biggest sale I will ever have on my website. If you want to master the art of Ableton and sound design, get yourself onto my website and check out the huge Black Friday, limited time only. It's probably only a few weeks left. I don't know what day it is. It's definitely only a week left. Definitely get your hands on that and check it out. My website is below, and the timestamps to this video are below as well in the description. So if you want to skip back and forth to your favorite section, feel free to do so. All right, let's recreate this in Pigments. Okay, so here we have a brand new preset, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to engine 1. At the moment it's on wavetable. You do have the option to change your engine type to analog, sample, or harmonic. We're going to keep it on wavetable, and we're going to come to the basic waveforms and come down to lo-fi sine tri, which is actually on the building waveforms. And what this is, it's a sine and a triangle wave, and if you move around the wavetable position, you can see that it morphs from a sine wave into a triangle wave. And that's the first thing that we're going to modulate, is that movement. So come down to LFO3, and in order to map this to that parameter, you actually need to come up to this plus button here. So if you hover over position, a plus button appears. Press the plus button, and then you come down to this menu, and you can now drag up LFO3, and you'll see on the position and on the waveform itself, it's starting to move. So now if we play this, you can hear that movement as it's moving through the wavetable position, which is giving you a little bit more interest and character as opposed to just a static waveform. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to come over to the unison section, and we're going to add some detune using the Super Saw. So this is modeled on the JP Super Saw from the 90s, and this is going to detune this waveform and just add a little bit more of that analog character into the sound. Increase the mix. We could add this LFO to the unison as well, to the mix. So press the plus button, and we're going to increase LFO 3. Let's stick the LFO 3 on unipolar so that it's only moving in one direction. And now, cool, I like that, it's really nice. I'm going to bring the stereo in just a little bit, because at a later stage we're actually going to widen that using some ping pong delays and some reverb. Now Pigments also has the ability to randomize, and if you come down to the bottom here, you can see random, and we have these different types of random. We've got touring, sample and hold, and binary. I quite like the way that this one is moving, and you can change it down here at the bottom, so you could set your own settings, but I'm going to use random 1, and I'm actually going to modulate the LFO. So not a parameter of the wavetable itself, but I'm going to randomize the LFO, so then that LFO randomly moves the parameters of engine 1. So we're going to come on to LFO, press the plus on the LFO, and now we're going to use random 1. And you can see now that the LFO is randomly moving through the different waveform shapes. So let's play this now. And you can hear that kind of like granular synthesis kind of sound, all those grains moving around on the sound. I quite like that. And that is coming from the fact that this is changing more into like a square shape rather than a rounded sine wave. Let's look at the bottom of this wavetable here. You have the option to do frequency modulation, phase distortion, and wave folding. Let's do some frequency modulation, this time using LFO1. So instead of dragging and dropping it onto there as you would with other VSTs, you're going to come to the plus button, and then we're going to drag up LFO1. And now let's play that. I'm going to increase the control a little bit so that it starts from further up. And you can see how that's moving the waveform now in the window. So it's using frequency modulation with this LFO to modulate the lo-fi sidetrine that we have. Next, let's go on to the phase distortion, and we'll use the same LFO to modulate the phase distortion as well so that it's moving in sync. So press the plus button and then drag up LFO1. Okay, so we have our character sound, the main body of this sound, but let's layer it with some lower frequencies, some pure sounds, and some other textures so that it starts to sound a little bit more interesting. So we're going to come over to Engine 2, and we're going to change it to a wavetable, and we're going to just use a pure sine wave just to layer with this sound. So that you can hear that it starts to sound a little bit more like that kind of static piano. You can hear that pure sound coming through when you put your hands down on the keys, plus the layer that we've got from Engine 1. Into the utility engine, and let's activate the noise and the oscillator. So this is another sine wave now, but you'll see that it defaults -12 semitones. So now we have this kind of underlying bass sound, and we're going to send this so that it goes direct out. I don't want to process this. I don't want it to go through any filters. I want it to be pure and direct out so that we have this bass root pure sound. So you can hear how that is layering underneath. The noise oscillator, let's go for texture, and we'll go to fake rain. So let's hear this. So at the moment that's quite low. I want that to sit on top of the sound that we've created in Engine 1. So bring it up, tune it up. Let's modulate the noise with LFO3. So come on to the volume, and we're going to bring up LFO3 and then bring the volume down. So it's adding that little bit of rhythm to the sound now. All right, so let's take a look at routing these sounds into our filters. So you can actually send any sound in Pigments in these engines through into filter 1 or filter 2, or a blend of the two. So let's go back to Engine 1, and you can see here on the output it's going through into filter 1. I want that and the noise to go through into filter 1. So we're going to come on to the noise and check it's on filter 1. The next thing I'm going to do is modulate the cutoff of this filter so that it's got some movement and it's opening and closing in those upper frequencies. So we're going to use LFO1. So press on the plus button and increase LFO1. Bring down the cutoff amount, and let's just put that on unipolar. I'm going to increase the rate of LFO1 so that it moves a little bit faster. I'm just going to bring down the amount on the cutoff as well. Okay, so on the utility engine, our oscillator is going to direct out. The only other thing is this sine wave here. So I want this to go through into filter 2. So bring that across to filter 2 on the output. And then we're going to bring the cutoff down. And let's change this to a low pass 12 and the low pass 12 on the one above as well. So it's just letting through those upper frequencies. And let's add the LFO1 to the resonance as well on the top filter. All right, so the next thing you want to do is jump to the effects section, and an update with Pigments 3 is the option to run your effects in split. So you can see here that the filter is the part that goes after the engines, and then from there it goes into the effects. So we can actually split that so that filter 1 goes into its own effects and filter 2 goes into its own set of effects. So let's do that. And now you can see here F1 to FXA and F2 to FXB. Come to your effects, which is at the top here, and now you can see FXA, FXB, and auxiliary effects. In the FXA, let's change this to a chorus Juno and a multiband. So let's play this. And we'll bring the dry wet down a little bit on the chorus. Remember, in FXB, we've actually only got that pure sine wave, which is low pass going through. So really, I don't really need to add too many effects to that. Let's just add some overdrive and some low passing again as well. Overdrive and a multi-filter. Increase the dry wet on the overdrive and increase the drive as well. So you're pushing up those harmonics. And you'll remember at the beginning when we set the unison to have a little bit more of a narrow image in the stereo field. And because of that, now we can go back into our effects, and using the auxiliary effects, we can start to widen that image again. So I'm going to be using a delay. Bring the delay to about 50% dry wet and activate the ping pong, and bring the stereo width down a little bit, bring the high pass filter up, and bring the feedback up as well. We're not hearing that at the moment because the auxiliary send has not been activated, so increase your auxiliary send. And now you can hear those grains bouncing around in the left-right image. Let's add some reverb, so come down to reverb. Keep the reverb on 100% wet, and let's increase the decay so that it starts to ring out a little bit more. Decrease the size, decrease the stereo width. So that's the effects done, but I'm sure you can hear that it's droning out quite a lot, and you can fix that using envelopes. Come back into the synth, and we're going to come onto our envelopes here, and we're going to shape this so that it's a bit more of a pluck sound. And by creating a pluck shape on the envelope, it means that you're not going to get so much kind of decay, long release tails. So we're going to add envelope 3 now to the parameters of our engines. So come to the volume of engine 1, click the plus button, and we'll increase envelope 3. Bring the volume down. Change the release on the envelope, just make it a little bit more of a pluck shape. Let's do the same on the utility on the fake rain. I'm actually going to add this again to the volume. It's already being modulated by LFO3, but we're now going to further modulate that or shape that using envelope 3 as well. Come to engine 2, and let's bring the volume down of this sine wave, as it was quite overpowering, and you really want those grainy layered textures to be coming out on top of this. So we're bringing down the volume in engine 2 with this sine wave, and let's shape that using envelope 3 as well. So press the plus button and bring up envelope 3. So we've got lots of movement going on in Pigments. Crazy level. It is so much more powerful than what I'm showing you today. This is why I'm going to do different videos on this, because there's a granular engine as well. It's insane. But this is just scratching the surface. The last thing I want to show you is using the macros. So you know how we're modulating the parameters within Pigments? Well, you can actually use the macros to automate in your DAW. This macro here is macro 1. You can assign the macros at the bottom here. You've got M1, 2, 3, and 4. So let's assign M1 to the cutoff of filter 1. Press the plus button and increase M1. So now we can automate using macro 1. I'm going to record direct into Ableton so you can see how when I move macro 1 that it's changing the sound and the sonic quality of this by opening and closing the cutoff filter, in addition to how it's using the LFO there and it's moving it back and forth. All right, so let's record this in. And if we take a look at the automation record, you can see that the automation has recorded there. And that is how you would create a dreamy lo-fi style hip-hop piano sound in Pigments 3. A super powerful VST, definitely one worth getting your hands on, as yeah, I only really talk about things that I like on here, so yeah, I fully recommend it. It's great. Get your hands on it. It is so powerful. It's got drag and drop sample section. It's got a granular synthesizer. It's insane the amount of things this thing can do. But yeah, that's just scratching the surface of it. If you liked this video, please give it a like. It takes 2 seconds to like the video and it massively helps the channel out. I appreciate it. And if you would like to see more content from me, more Pigments videos, more sound design videos, then consider hitting the subscribe button. Make sure you check out the Black Friday deal that I have going on my website. The link is below. You've got about a week left to grab yourself a huge discount. Huge discount. And if you have any thoughts about this video as well, please drop me a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Jump in the Discord, jump in the Twitch streams, do the ting. Just do the ting. Do it. Do the thing. Check it out. All the links are below in the description. My name's Becky Saif, and I will see you for another video.